All right, everyone. I apologize for that screw up. I promise I only turned 31 this summer. I did not turn 91. So maybe this time I can figure out how to work this technology. I did find my Surface Pen, though, at home in the couch cushion. So those of you who let me borrow it in first period today, I appreciate you. So the good news is we caught the mistake. I'm going to make this video 10 minutes long instead of 15 because I'm having to do it real quick. This is just a refresher, and I'm hoping this is helpful. I am literally thinking like I'm you at the quiz tomorrow, and these are the big takeaways that you need to know. Okay? Number one, you first look at a problem. Every single problem. You need to ask yourself, is there a GCF? Is there a common factor? Here's why. Let me show you why. What if there was a number, something like this, 40x squared plus 80x plus 160. Just bear with me here. That would be a pain to factor like this, right? Factors of 40, 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 4 and 10, 8 and 5. You got options for days, 160, tons of options. But if we look for a GCF first, we can pull out a 40 because they all share a 40, and we have a much easier problem now. So this 40 is still a part of your answer. It's multiplied. It's a factor, but it just chills out there by itself. And then you would break this one down. I just made this up off the top of my head, and so as you can see, 4 factors of 4 does not give you 2, so it's not going to work. But in the real world on the quiz, that wouldn't have been a 2. It probably would have been a 3. So honestly, I could have fixed it if that was a 120. That one would work, because then we could go, oh no, we can't, because it's both plus. If I change this to a minus, it works. X plus 4, x minus 1 with your 40. So anyways, you get the idea. Look for a greatest common factor. It will make your life a lot easier. Okay? Number 2, probably even more important. This one could potentially save you this could save you about 10 points. Like a full letter grade. If you follow this rule, instead of making a D, you could make a C. Instead of making a C, you could make a B. And then maybe, depending on if you're feeling good, this could save you to get an A. Here is that technique. Always look to factor more. The directions are going to be factor completely. And if you only factor one step when you could go more, you're going to lose points. Even though you probably could have done it. That's what's so painful about it too. So if there is let me just pick a basic one. X to the 4th minus 1. This is kind of a steal off of one from the homework. I need to see, is there a GCF? No. How many terms is this? This is 2 terms, which means it's either going to be squares, difference of 2 perfect squares, or a difference of 2 perfect cubes. 1 is both a perfect square and a perfect cube, but x to the 4th, that is a perfect square because it's an even number exponent. So this is the difference of squares. So I'm going to break that down. Parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. Square root of that first term goes here and here. Wait, so what is the square root of x to the 4th? It's actually x squared and x squared. And then square root of 1 goes here and here. And we have a plus and a minus. If you stopped here, you would get almost the full answer. But check this out. This one right here, this term, is another difference between 2 perfect squares. X squared is a perfect square. 1 is a perfect square. And so we can break this one down to x and 1 with a plus and a minus. So your final answer, this one is still here, but that is completely factored. Take a minute, pause the video if you want to look at that again. But why could we, here's my question for you, my critical thinking question. Why could this x squared minus 1 get broken down more, but this x squared plus 1 cannot? It's because, remember, with squares, it's only the difference between two perfect squares. Here, I'll switch to green so you see where I'm writing. Only the difference has to be subtraction. With cubes, with your SOAP formula, same, opposite, always positive, it can be either plus or minus. Remember, you can have a plus b, which would then be a squared minus ab plus b squared. Or you can have a minus b, which would be a squared plus ab plus b squared. So with cubes, it can be either or, but with squares, perfect squares, it has to be difference. Okay? So this is such an important point. We're at the 6-minute mark. I want to just make up another one here and just say, like if you had this, let's say 2, and this happened on your homework, by the way. If you're checking the answer key tonight for those practice problems that I gave you, if you're trying to look to do a few more problems, there are a few where you had to factor a lot. I'm actually going to pull one of those up. Let's pull them up. That's the best use of our time, honestly. Practice worksheet for quiz. Where is the one that was just a beast? Let's look at... Oh, I think it was number 8. Let's look at number 8. Wow. No, that's perfect squares. Let's look at number 10. Can we pull out a GCF? 9 and 45. They both share 9. 4, 20. No, they all don't share something. So then we ask ourselves, how many terms? How many terms? This is 4, so we know grouping. So we're going to look to pull out a GCF here, which they share a 9 and they share 2 x's. And then what's left behind? 9x squared times x gives me 9x cubed, and 9x squared times 5 gives me 45x squared. And then over here, if we pull out a minus 4, we have then an x plus 5. So boom, we are ready for grouping. It worked, x plus 5, x plus 5. So we set up our next set, which is 9x squared minus 4. What's on the outside, remember? I'll underline it real quick in blue. What's on the outside goes in one set of parentheses, and what's on the inside goes in the other. And we're done, right? Wrong, because remember, always ask yourself this. Every single problem, ask yourself both of these. This is the first thing you ask yourself. Is there a common factor I can pull out? And can we factor more should be the last thing you ask yourself every single time. Because check us out. This can go farther. That is a difference between two perfect squares. 9x squared and 4 are both perfect squares. And so this x plus 5 is just chilling over here. But this 9x squared can be broken down into 3x and 3x. And this 4 can be broken down into 2 and 2. This is what you would need to have for full credit. Okay? So, how many terms? 2 terms. Looks like a perfect cube. 125, that's a perfect cube. 64, yep, so this is cubes. This is great practice for you, by the way. How many terms? 3, so that's going to be guess and check method. Is there a GCF, a 2, a 3? Nope, so that's just straight up guess and check. Trial and error. That's how you should attack every problem tomorrow on the quiz. Is there a GCF? How many terms? So you can select your method. Remember, your methods that you need to practice are difference of squares, cubes, which is your SOAP formula, trial and error, or guess and check, and grouping. Those are the only 4 methods you need to make an A on this. Now you got to be able to, and also you always look for a GCF. Those are the methods. Now you might have to interchange them and use multiple right on a certain problem, but those are them. So all you need to do, practice these 10 problems, see what you think, rewatch this video if you need to, and come in tomorrow with questions. We can use the first 5 minutes or so, but that's about it. So if you have more than about 1 or 2 questions, I would recommend that you come and find me before school. I'll be in the Whitechapel. And I hope to see you there. Good luck, guys. I'm on your team. Come use me. Let's get some help.